Is it necessary for a real estate agent to own a car in Singapore? My short answer, what's up guys, it's 10 AM and I'm at my first appointment. You know, there's a running joke that agents don't start work till it's past 10. I guess I don't fall into that category. I'm at Jalan Bukit Ho Swee, one of the oldest housing estates in Singapore with a rich history. Today's vlog, I want to talk about and answer the important question that many people have on their mind on whether it's absolutely important and necessary to own a car in Singapore as a real estate agent. Don't forget your mask and keep watching. First, some history. For all of you watching this, I think ever since the time I started shooting vlogs, started posting videos on my YouTube, you have seen me with this black Volkswagen car. Does that mean that a car is absolutely necessary? To go further back, I started off this line as a commercial agent focused on office buildings within the central business districts, namely District 1, District 2, the City Hall area, and sometimes the Bugis area. With such a small area of specialization, at that point of time, I really didn't need a car, as it's easier to travel on foot when walking to the various buildings in the area. It was only sometimes over the weekends or in the evenings when I have some of my residential clients, my residential deals, referrals at that point of time, where I had to rely on family cars or rented cars. Rented cars weren't such a good idea for my line because timings can be very unpredictable. So often I ended up running way past the scheduled time where I'm supposed to return the car, chalking up huge late fees in the process. It wasn't the easiest, but could I survive without a car? Yes, I can. And in fact, if I had decided not to venture into those residential deals where properties are more all over the place, it's very likely that I could have been without a car. And the perks of that and being in commercial real estate is that my working hours were mostly the weekdays office hours. After all, that's when people come and see offices, and that's when office buildings are open to allow viewings. So that was how I managed my work in the first 2 years of my career without a car. Now at my second appointment, I arrived here and it's still not even 11 AM yet. I don't think I would be able to do this without a car today, ever since I transited to focus more on residential real estate. I'm going to head up now to do some measurements for one of the units I have. On my way to my third appointment now, and it's not even 12 noon yet. Besides, for being able to cover so many places in a short period of time, for example, I definitely wouldn't be able to cover 5 properties in 5 hours like I did for one of my previous vlogs without a car. A major benefit, at least to me personally, is being able to use my car space as kind of like a mini office, a mini storage area. Because sometimes I have so many things, so many documents, I have my shoes, I even have a tennis racket. It can be a hassle if I'm taking public transport and bringing all this around. So with my car, it comes in very handy. On days like today, it can be a bit messy. Look at my front seat and my back seat. Quite a bit of stuff there. I'll give you a sneak peek of my boot. But don't worry, it's not like this all the time, especially when I need to meet clients. It isn't always like that. It really depends on the day and what I'm going to do and what I had been doing previously. They call it an organized mess. And it's really very useful once you get used to it, especially. Much better than lugging a briefcase or backpack around when you go about for your work. Doesn't look nice, you know, especially for people in our line. Later, after this appointment, I'll be going for a quick lunch, and then at about 1:30 or so, I'll be picking up my next client. It's going to be an appointment that's going to last for the most part the rest of the day. I'll be going to see landed properties, and this is where driving around with a client makes a car really handy. Yum yum! These are bottles of water that I bought from the supermarket. After all, we are in the service business. A car helps me to bring these bottles of water around that I can provide to my clients that I'm bringing about. Singapore's weather is so hot, you never know when you need one. And now my car is all cleaned up. and looks almost brand new. I'm good to go for my next appointment. Of course, I wouldn't say it's all rosy when you have a car. One of the big major reasons is of course cost. It's not cheap to own a car. My car isn't very big. I bought brand new about 2.5 years ago, and on average, without counting the down payment, especially since I move around Singapore so much and I drive around quite a bit, it costs me about close to maybe $1,500 every month just for gas, maintenance, cash card, parking fees. It adds up quite fast, quite quickly as you drive your car for longer periods. Later I'll be going for landed viewings. I think I briefly mentioned earlier. There's also problems with parking. Okay, I'll take some videos, shots where it may be difficult to find parking. Sometimes I have to drop off the client first and then have to walk very far to catch up with them. Sometimes even run because sometimes I just have to park too far away. So these are some of the downsides. Let me share with you more as we get along with my day. Probably won't be able to shoot you shots because, as always, client privacy is very important, but I'll see what I can show you later. Keep watching. Done with my appointment, going to Landed Estates from the west, Thomson area, all the way to the east, Opera Estate. Took about almost 4 hours in total. It's about 5 o'clock right now. Started about 1:15. One thing I have to say about Landed is that about driving a car, is that another downside is the parking. You can see I'm actually parking at I'm parking by a single white line, which by right is not something that you should do. It's illegal, you can get fined. But that's the thing about driving a car. Sometimes when you need to park, parking can be an issue. You need to find parking, you need to pay for parking. It can be quite difficult sometimes, especially when you're rushing for time. Thankfully today, everything was nicely planned out and everything went smoothly. 5 o'clock, my next appointment was at 6, but they just told me it's delayed. So I'm going to chill for a while before heading over. Imagine if this had happened 2 years ago before I had my car. If I happen to be driving my family car, maybe that's okay. However, if it's a rental car, I could be facing high late fees. Today with my own car, I'm more flexible with timing, especially because I don't have an appointment right after this, such that I can come to Next early to hang around, chill before my client comes for my 7 PM appointment. My final words for you, is it necessary for a real estate agent to own a car in Singapore? My short answer is no. Why? Because I personally have done well in my first 2 years of this line without having a car. What's more important is tenacity, willingness to work hard, determination, and ideally you want to focus on a specialized small area so you won't have the need to travel around too often. But once you feel like your sales are picking up and you're more comfortable financially, you may want to get yourself a nice vehicle, as that improves your service options and you're able to do more things as a property agent, move around and be more efficient in your work overall. I hope that answers your question. So that's it for today's vlog. Let me know in the comments below, do you think it is important for a real estate agent to own a car in Singapore? Leave me a like, a thumbs up, subscribe below if not done so, watch my next video, and I'll see you next time.